Right Team Facebook group, and I've started the cloud recording. So, yeah, we haven't done any check-ins or anything yet, but you're on.
Okay, awesome. Well, the last week, hi everyone, how are you? Sorry, it's flooding up here, and where I was gonna go, I couldn't go, so I'm at a different. I found the cafe to come to do this meeting. So hopefully you can hear me okay, and there's not too much background noise, and the internet's okay. So sometimes
you're good.
Figure it out, right, in life. Okay, awesome. So last week the homework was to do that you hear around doing. We spoke a lot about fear and go through it, and all of us still have fears, right? Even those of us who are this team, we still have our fears to overcome. The challenge was to, within the next 48 hours from the last call, was to commit to doing something that you were scared about doing. So I took action around that personally. So I think sometimes people, go, oh, Nicole seems so confident, but I still have things that I'm fearful of. So I've always struggled a lot, like the online and showing up online in a public. I'm totally happy to do it inside of the Facebook groups that I have for ASEA. So I decided to do that, and I actually reached out, sent some messages to some people that I didn't know, and I started to post more consistently online since last week. And I've been getting between 10 and 20 friend requests coming to me a day. So people reaching out to me, sending me messages, wanting to do. So I overcame fear and just took action and did it, even though it was scary. And guess what? It wasn't that scary once I did it. So I'm wondering if anyone else would like to share their experience. A few people, maybe we'll get 3 or 4 people to share their experience of taking action in a 48 hours.
Sorry, Nikki, you just dropped out. You maybe, oh, is she gone altogether? Okay, she's gone. All right, well, let's do that. Who would like to share on the challenge of doing something that is outside your comfort zone? Anyone get up to some expansion over the past week? Yes, Diana, you're nodding there. You're a brave woman. Love it.
I did the scary thing of setting up a coffee, cake, and sales chat, which is happening this week, Thursday, which has meant me having a massive spring clean in my chamois.
Yeah.
And I realised I haven't had any visitors or guests, I don't think, for probably more than 2 years. And a lot of it is because friends and family are a long way away. And then there was COVID. But yeah, so it is a fear. And Jeanette helped me set up the invite because I was having huge angst about how to do that. Mm-hmm. Realising there's a lot more digital tech skills I need to do, but the cleanup's going really well. And I've got my AirPods in while I'm doing it and listening to inspirational stuff. So it's taking the pain out of it. It's like having a Valium, but better. Or I've never had Valium, so I don't know. Anyway.
That's fantastic. I love it. There's a couple of really great things that you talked about there that we can all learn from. Is one, while it's scary doing the actual, doing something new outside the comfort zone, you're boosting yourself up through, one, getting help from your upline, your teammates, and 2, through using personal development and inspirational information. All right, so that's great coping mechanisms. I think that's really important for us all to learn that in all areas of life, but particularly in the business. You've got to sort of pep yourself up on a regular basis. So that's fantastic. The other thing was you talked about there was the techie skills for creating an invite was sort of challenging to you. I'd invite you all to be aware that there are team resources that you can get help with this. A lot of the uplines are actually really great at using software to do invites and so forth. Plus, we can really utilize Fen to do invites and things like that. So if you are hosting an event, and you're committing to doing a presentation, which is amazing, that's a part of leadership, that's part of stepping up, then reach out and ask for help. And, we're not good at everything. But we don't have to be, because this is not a solo sport. This is a team sport. you know, and we rise up by lifting others up as well. So good on you, Diana, for getting out there.
I'll have to say it's not me doing the presentation. Jeanette and Jen are coming to do that, but yeah, thank you.
And that's great. You're leveraging a leader to do that, and that's the best way to do it. So it gives you security that you've got leadership to do the bulk of the work, but even you being the hostess and doing the introduction, edifying them, you know, like doing the greeting, saying goodbye to people. And at the end, it's really important that the more associates that can be there at the end, and then ask the guests, okay, so, you know, how did you like that? What did you like about that? You know, can you see yourself using the products? Do you need help with ordering? That's all a part of it, right? So that's fantastic, Diana. Great work.
And what's been really nice, 2 people have responded that they're not able to come, but they would like to come another time.
Yeah.
So that's really nice.
I think that's a really great lesson for everyone to be aware of. If you are booking a live event, I encourage you to book a second one, to have a second lot of dates set aside, so that if they can't do the first one, then go, oh, well, how does this date work for you? And then often as well, if the people that came to the first one and they actually use the products, get them to come back to the second one. They're going to hear more about the products. They're going to have more of an idea, and they're going to have some stories that are going to contribute to the second presentation. And then often the third date, what I'll do is, oh, well, you know, we've got one online on a Tuesday night as well. If that doesn't work, then I send a recording. So you've got these backup plans so that you make it accessible for everyone for the information, but you prioritize the live event as the best, the most intimate, the second live event, then a Zoom live event, then a recording.
I've also sent invites to tonight to all of those people, plus a whole heap more.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Yeah. Well done. Good work, Diana. Okay, give a round of applause. Yay.
Thank you.
So who else has done something scary this week outside the comfort zone and you'd like to check in and report on? Okay, there we go. It's Debbie, isn't it? It's
right, yeah, Oppo.
Oppo. Hey, Debbie.
How are you?
Great.
Hi, everybody. I did something I'm really quite excited about. I reached out to Wendy Corner because I've got this thing. I'm going to do cold calling. For me, it's really important, but I really wanted to set myself up so I was in a really good place to not waste calls because I wasn't properly prepared for the calls. Yep. So Wendy was kind enough to walk me through my my script that I'd written down and showed me how to make it not a script but a very warm and personal call, because these people won't know who I am. Yep. And to make sure I was well set up, that it was personable. I knew the person I know the name of the person that I'm contacting. I'm not just contacting a person. How to keep the call warm, interesting, and giving me a lot of confidence to be able to do that. So I'm really excited about this. We did this yesterday. So I've just got to practice. She's given me some tips on practicing and to get it right. So I'm hoping I'm going to practice all this week. I'm really going to put myself on the line for next week, I think. And then it's open. I am so open to how many people I reach out to.
Brilliant.
This I'm excited about, yes.
Yeah. Well, great work, Debbie. There's nothing quite like personal contact, you know, like a phone call is way better than a message. And it takes a lot of bravery to do that. So good work, like setting yourself up, getting yourself psychologically psyched up, and most importantly, getting comfortable with what you're going to say.
Yeah. So that was my scary thing. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, you got a great mentor in Julie. She's like a legend of that sort of stuff. So well done.
Thank you.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you for sharing, Debbie. Go Sue.
Hi, Justin. Okay, well, one of my fears was doing the recording thing on Messenger, recording messages.
Oh, doing, audio.
Someone. And about 5 minutes after I jumped off last week's call, a girlfriend contacted me who's very sick in Melbourne and wanted some help. And I ended up sending her or talking to her through those recorded messages. And all up, I think I did 15 in about 20 minutes.
Hey, yeah.
So I went, okay, that's got me over that fear. So yeah, that was the one I did.
That's fantastic. Go Sue. So I love that. So utilizing a different form of technology and 15 messages in 20 minutes. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, great. Who else is using audio messages? Yeah. Who else isn't using audio messages? Yeah. All right, Tanya, Deb. Maybe think about that. Add that to your repertoire as another way to connect. And Debbie, it's going to be very similar to if you do a call and you can't get hold of a person, what message would you leave? You know, that could be very similar to the audio message you leave as well. So fantastic. That's so good. Well done, Sue. Anyone else? Last one. Who did something scary this week, went beyond their comfort zone, tried something new? Don't be shy. Is it the wild weather? Is the hair not sitting right? Because I've got not many videos on today as well. I think Nicole's internet suffering from the wild weather. Yeah, that's right. So Margot did that. Margot converted to the audio messages since she's been, you know, she's had a stroke and she's been in the hospital, and she's like, how do I deal with this? I can't type properly, because seeing the screen has been a real challenge for her. So she's gone to audio messages, which is amazing. It's fantastic. Cool. One more volunteer. Who's done something scary this week beyond their comfort zone? No? No. All right. Well, be brave. The next week's another opportunity to do something brave. Okay.
Do something scary. Do something this week that scares you.
Turn your video off when you're talking, Nikki. You are breaking up quite badly. Did you want to?
Can you hear me now?
Then?
I said, do something this week that scares you.
Yeah, face the fear and do it anyway. Yeah. Okay, so if you want to move into...
Awesome. Yeah. For a little bit, I might hand it to you. I sent you some links and stuff to share via text. Hopefully that you've got those. You've got those, yeah?
Yeah. Did you want those documents up?
Yeah, I'll just talk briefly first. So basically what I thought, like a lot of people have come up with a question about handling objections, right? So I did send a newsletter out last night. So if you haven't read that, I wrote a bit of an article in there. So, you know, we all get all types of objections. It's too expensive. Why isn't this in shops? Will it work for me? You know, also all sorts of things. There's objections. But what if we reframed objections into thinking of them as questions that the people that we are sharing a SEA with need to get answered. Okay, so instead of objections and thinking of it as negative, think of it as they are still engaging in a conversation with you and they have questions that need to be answered. So that can just help you reframe it for yourselves as they are just asking for more information. So in terms of getting them more information, you can, of course, you know, there's some tools that you can send around certain objections and things to respond to. But of course, the best way, if people have a lot of questions, is that you get them on a three-way call, a three-way message chat, or a Zoom with an expert or a redox educator who is someone in your upline who has been doing a SEA longer than you, that will feel very comfortable and very confident in answering all of these questions because they have been through them before. So that's just a little bit in reframing the context of it. I have sent Justin some links and I'll get him to kind of share those with you and talk you through some of the most common objections. I'll get him to do that because I know my internet is super patchy here where I am. And the other thing that I've put together this week as well is I had a couple of people come to me with the objection about people, you know, saying, oh, I'm going to buy it on eBay or I'm going to buy it on Amazon. So I've actually put together some specific tools for you around that. There's a one-page document, which is 7 reasons to buy from an authorized reseller. And there's a video that I did, and it is a bit longer. It's about 9 minutes. I got quite passionate about some of the stuff that I know for sure because of the interactions that I have with other leaders and people in corporate that have happened with online sellers selling fake products. And I think it's really important that people are aware of that. So those 2 tools are in Genie Go. I will be having Larry add a category in the library called Objections, where we'll put anything to do with easy ways for you to respond to objections there so you can find them, because they're definitely not a first touch prospecting tool, but in that process of the back and forth conversation, they are something that you can use. There are links to these documents in the newsletter as well, Margot. If you there's links to all of these documents. So I'm going to hand over to Justin to how to respond to objections. So Justin, there's this one file here that I put together, and then there's another file that I sent you, which is Objections Training, which is a little bit around the different personality types. It's fairly straight. Yeah, that one there. Different personality types. That thank you to Danielle Matthews in the US who's put this one together. So I'll let Justin kind of talk through that so you actually are getting all of the words as opposed to, hopefully that was relatively clear what I just said and not too much breaking up.
Okay, so yeah, not the best internet there, Nikki, so hopefully you could all hear that. So handling objections, one of the biggest lessons for me when handling objections that really helped my psychology was to understand that if a person is objecting, they actually care. They care enough to object. So and one of the key things that I've learned as well is when talking to people is I don't want to be pushing my agenda on them. I want to see if they're open to finding a solution to their problems. So that there's a saying, if I want it more for them than they want it for themselves, I'm going to get resistance. So having that emotional maturity and objectiveness is really, really important in this process. And when you handle the objections well, it can actually be a really bonding process. It can build a lot more trust and rapport. In order to do that, they do need to have an open mind. So if someone is giving you like really ridiculous objections or being a little bit unreasonable, it can help by just saying a statement such as, look, if you're a cynic, I can't help you. If you have an open mind, if you're a skeptic and you need more information to make a more informed decision, I'd love to help you with that. I'm a skeptic as well, right? So having some compassion and some understanding that people are going to be going through a process and you can help them through that process. Another way to think about it is that, don't make it an A-B kind of conversation, a linear conversation. Make it an ABC conversation where C is the challenge. C is the information they don't know. It's they don't understand the value for money. They don't understand the technology. So you as A and B, them as B, right? You work together on C. Make a collaborative effort to help them understand the problem and overcome that problem. That's what the objection is. It's just a lack of knowledge or understanding about something. So when you get an objection, don't take it personally. Look at it as an opportunity of like, great, I can help this person understand something. And whether they do business with me long-term or not, it doesn't matter. I'm going to add value to their life by helping educate them in this moment. So the first one back here is how to respond to objections. So knowing how to say, again, let the tool do the talking because tools are duplicatable. So there's a whole bunch of things that come up. People ask whether it's safe, like what's the production like? What's the quality of the production since it's like salt water? Like what's really involved? Well, a multi-million-dollar, highly complex, highly patented process. And they don't know that unless, they go there and you actually take the time to educate them. So there's a great video on that to show a lot of credibility around the manufacturing process. Education tools on the technology. So the quick draw video, helping them understand like what's on the bottle, because the American pouches, the American bottles, they've got pretty extraordinary claims on here. And if you can show them one of those, that can be very beneficial. Even if you just got a photo of one, right? And it's got the claims on the back of the bottle, that can really help open their mind up to see the value that it's not just salt water. Is everyone hearing me okay? Diana, can you nod?
Justin,
am I coming through clearly?
Justin, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes, okay. So the USA bottle, there is actually a document in Genie with USA bottle label, the front and the back with that information on there. So you can actually use that to respond to an objection. So when we get that objections folder set up by Larry, I'll pop that into there as well. But that is in there, and you can just say, look, in the US, they're allowed to have this on the bottle. It's the only market they are. And this is exactly what's on it. So that is available. I got that off someone.
I find the handling objection part of this business is very much about education. It's where you can become their trusted advisor. And that's what I'd encourage you to aim for is, you know, we have more of a sharing process than a salesy process. Yes, in technical terms, it's still a sales process, but we're not so salesy as we are sharing. And we continue that process as we deal with the objections of sharing information to educate people. And then when they become a customer and associate, we do more of that as well, like how to use the products, how to share with others, how to build a business, right? So it's the same kind of theme of educating. And the more you can dig down and understand their objections by asking them questions about that, the better you can become their trusted advisor. I even ask them questions such as, how do you like to learn? Do you prefer to read a document? Do you like a video? Would you like a phone call with someone? Would you like a live Zoom with some people, with some experts to help you understand? So tailor it for them, serve their needs in overcoming the objections, and you'll gain a lot of credibility and trust that way. So obviously there's the science summaries, science video, medical experts video, and bioanalytics certification. Once you go to the trouble to go through these processes, people start to really go, oh yeah, okay. And you know, one of the greatest and easiest ways to do this is, if you're with them, get them to taste the product. Giving that 90%, about 90% of people taste more of a chlorine pool water flavor than a salt water. That's a very easy way to go, see, it doesn't taste like salt water. Or spray it in your eyes and it doesn't feel like the beach kind of salt water, you know? So if you can do these things as well as a very practical term, a practical approach, that helps. Another thing I say is, you can't build, you know, a $150 million turnover company that's legally operating in 33 countries in the world with salt water. You know, you can't patent salt water, you know? So I try and help people see that, you know, the scale of this business is just not possible to achieve on something that's like an illegitimate product. It has to be a legitimate product. It's also 11 years old. So knowing a little bit of history and knowing about the corporation, the company, can really, really help you in this area. And I would encourage you to do some research on this so that you can become confident and rock solid in your conviction around it as well. So we talk about the 3 Bs, believe, belong, become, okay? And in order to become a great leader, your belief has to get to the level of conviction. Beyond belief, it goes to conviction. When you know some of this information and you are confronted by an objection, and usually it can be a little bit of an emotional situation, right? You having that conviction and that knowledge behind you gives you a confidence that gives you a great posturing, okay? Because people can come at you quite emotionally about this stuff, and you need to remain rational, logical, and compassionate and empathetic, but not get caught up into the emotion of it, okay? Does that make sense? I think that's a really important part. It's like, it's not just a knowledge, but it's who you are in that conversation that's really going to make a big difference. Okay, now sodium content, that's a really easy one, right? If a person is allowed to have 2 carrots a day, they're allowed to have a standard dose of ASEA a day. And so the other way is you could actually have a look at the nutritional panel on the back. and ask if they've, most people who are on a sodium restricted diet, they don't even know how much sodium they're actually allowed to have. Okay, so they just get this big red flag warning from their doctor. Oh no, they're not allowed to have sodium, and they just freak out about it, but they actually don't know the specifics of it. So you could ask them, do you know your actual sodium allowance you're allowed every day? But I find the easiest ones is, are you allowed to eat a couple of carrots a day? That's the same amount as a standard dose of ASEA. Are you allowed to have 4 carrots a day? You can have a double dose. So look, I think that's the easiest and simplest one. Too expensive. I love that one because of my background of seeing people and my personal experiences spending thousands and thousands of dollars on treatment, and knowing what redox does is just far more value for money on a whole range of issues rather than a single thing. The easiest way to do it, sort of the question that I use to open a person's mind around this, and you need to be careful you don't do it with too much arrogance, but you can do it with confidence, is compared to what? How are you looking at what this is valued at? Because there is no other technology on the planet like this. The company is the only company in the world that creates balanced, bioidentical redox signaling molecule products. And that's where you can start to go back into that education that all cellular health revolves around our redox. And we know that in our products, we have the vast majority of the redox that our body makes. So it's going back to, this is how nature heals. This is the basis of cellular health. You don't want to be a redox biochemist, but depending on your level of knowledge, and depending on your audience as well, as to how much you go into that. Stay on the simple side, but if they are a technical kind of person, the more specific technical information you can give them, the more credibility you'll get. And I just want to say, this is a key principle when it comes to customer service, when it comes to an objection, is don't be afraid to say, I don't know the answer to that question. That's a really great question, but I know people who will know how to answer that. Let's get them on a call, or let's get in touch with them and give you an appropriate answer. I'm going to learn from doing that as well. So again, that's that ABC conversation. A and B are working together to solve C. Does that make sense? Yep. Okay. So I can't afford it. Yep. I get it. Right. And again, I've got a great story myself, but you find your story. My story is, when I started redox, I was literally dying and bankrupt. So budget was a major concern, and I could only afford a standard dose, 60 mils twice a day. So I get that. I get how important that is. I also understand that there's no wealth without your health. Your health is your wealth. So, it's up to each individual, and I respect whatever decision you're going to make. Any redox is better than none. And when you have your health back, then you have your ability to have your wealth back as well, to create your wealth. So yeah, that's a conversation, I think, that's getting back to core values with people and helping them raise some of those things, that their health is their wealth, just to help them get in touch with that. Because people kind of tend to take it for granted, or if they're from a country such as the UK with NHS, and Medicare, where they're used to things being paid for by the government, they may have to bring a little awareness around the fact that this is a product that is not covered by that. This is they're responsible for their health, and this is a product for them to invest in if they value their health. Why else are they having a conversation with you about it? Does that make sense? Was I clear as mud on that one? Hopefully I was crystal clear, but I felt like I was a bit too wordy. All right, FDA approved. Another great way to look at the health industry and help people understand how certification works, how approvals work. We don't live in a world where the truth, you're able to say the truth unless you've got the dollars to back it up, basically. So we're this evidence-based world that we live in. So just helping them understand a little bit about the laws that really suit the corporations with big bucks, rather than perhaps traditional medicine or new technologies that don't fit into an existing category, a nice, clearly defined box. Redox is a new category. It's the only one of its kind. There is, the USA is the only country in the world that has a piece of law, legislation, that allows them to make these health claims on that internal product. No other countries have that piece of law. So just helping people understand that is very important. Okay. Again, stating your position as someone who's sharing it and helping them learn the information, educating them, becoming their trusted advisor. Okay, so network marketing. A lot of people, again, they don't understand what network marketing is. Who was it? Yeah, I was talking to someone just the other day, and they saw a network marketer at an event, and they were doing the turn up and throw up. Was that you, Julie? Yeah, that's right. You were saying that, right, in the call yesterday. And it's any industry has got good and bad operators, right? And I say to people, look, I've had a bad meal at a restaurant. I choose to not go back to those restaurants, but it doesn't mean I'm going to stop buying food from a restaurant. And it's the same with any industry and any company. There's going to be good and bad operators. And my job is to help educate you into what I know is the best way to do this. And I'm always learning as well, right? So just helping people become aware of the size of the industry globally, have some facts and figures around the industry. Again, that builds your conviction and your professionalism as having a career in network marketing. That's a classic one. If it's so great, why isn't it in stores? Look at the distribution model, direct sales. Our founders actually had the choice to go with a traditional style of distribution, or to be able to give this opportunity to people. And again, because of the regulatory issues of a technology like this, it was actually deemed it was a much better way to do it with network marketing, people to people. People need to hear stories about people's results with this in order to relate to the new technology and to understand the power of it while we are in an environment where we can't make medical claims and so forth. Pyramid scheme. This is important people don't want to be ripped off. People want to trust the process they're in. Also, this kind of relates to why isn't it in stores as well. I do talk a little bit about to people, I give them the example of like Apple, for example, and certain other brands where you can't just buy it from the local store. There are certain distributors and it's a controlled logistics chain. And that's for quality purposes. So, for example, the Apple brand is built on certain pricing points and certain distribution. And that's the same with network marketing and direct sales. It is distributed through individuals at certain prices. And there's a code of conduct and there's regulations around that. But the first thing when people say, is it a pyramid scheme? I say pyramid schemes are illegal and I'm not involved in the legal scam. This is a legitimate business. So I kind of put that to bed straight away. But then I then talk a little bit about the business model to them as well. And yeah, I don't find this one actually comes up very often. I think it's most of the time that people say this to me, it's a bit of tongue in cheek, and they know that they don't understand it on some level. If anyone, like nearly 90% of people, I'd say, that say, oh, is this a pyramid scheme? I can tell that within them, there is a knowing they don't understand it, And so it's like a case of, again, having that empathy and compassion. It's like, okay, yeah. So I've heard of that term thrown around. It can be thrown around a bit like mud, where it sticks to things or it shouldn't. Like let's have a little bit of a conversation and unwrap that of what does that mean to you. And then it's a classic if you start talking about corporate, government, non-profit organizations are actually the real pyramid. And it's so easy when you give an example of a person that is actually higher in the genealogy tree. such as Trish Wankler, who's not at the top, was given 0 spillover and yet is the highest earner in the company due to her own work. And I love to say the phrase about actually a good network marketing compensation plan will reward those that put the effort in, not who's entitled or who got in first or anything like that. You know, we get to build our own organization, and you get to be at the top of that if you put the effort in. Does that make sense? Objection. You have to get in early to make money. Well, again, a good network marketing compensation plan rewards the effort that a person puts into their business. We all build and are responsible for our own organization. So while I'm in my own business, I'm a part of a larger group, but I'm responsible for my business, and that's how I'm going to be compensated. And that doesn't matter when you actually start that. And in many ways, it's actually better and proven in our industry that you don't want to start with a new company. You know, like professional network marketers usually won't join a company until it is at least 5 years old and it's established that it's going to be a successful company. And my personal opinion is that ASEA as an opportunity, as a business opportunity, because it was so ahead of its time, it's actually better now than it was in the early days as a business. And our technology to share it with Genie Go and all the tools that we have online, all the marketing materials, none of that existed 6.5 years ago. So it's actually much easier now. Now's a better time than back then. Does that make sense? Have we got any questions? I haven't been able to follow the chat box while I've been doing that. Yep. Any comments, questions, concerns there? Nicole, you still on? Am I doing, because obviously Nicole was going to run this call, but she's not now because of internet.
I'm still on. I did disappear for a while because it just drops out, kicks me off. No, that's great. I think, you know, so I put a comment in the chat that I'll post those documents into the Telegram group for everyone as well. They're also in Genie, so I'll direct you to where you can find those, and the links also in the newsletter as well.
Yeah.
So you can go through and get comfortable with that. Yeah, definitely. I would say, you know, if you're not certain, reach out to your upline at all times and get like some coaching or get them to help you with your prospects as well.
Yeah, that's a great question. Margot's put in the chat there is if someone says to her, is this a pyramid scheme? She asks them, what do you mean by pyramid? You know, so that's a really great way to explore that topic and uncollapse that conversation. I don't know if you're aware of that terminology. An example that I give of is when my business failed, my internal dialogue, my internal conversation was that my business failed and I was a failure. Okay, and when I actually did a lot of personal development, I was able to uncollapse that conversation where my business failed and I did everything I could, but I still didn't succeed. But just because my business failed doesn't mean that I'm also a failure. Okay, so that's like pulling the conversation apart so that you can identify its individual parts. And that's where you want to do that with people when they're talking about a SEER and a pyramid scheme. What does a pyramid mean to you? You know, so you look at a pyramid scheme is an illegal structure and organization that is a scam and is illegal in just about every country I know of. And you can't have a corporation in Australia that operates like that. So one is definitely not a pyramid scheme. Two, what do you mean by a pyramid? Does that mean like the structure looks like a pyramid? Then you can talk a little bit about like corporate structure and all of that sort of stuff. Does that make sense? So uncollapsing the conversation with a person can help with their understanding. Yep, usually, and Chris, thank you, Chris, he's contributed usually no product in the pyramid scheme. Yeah, it's often very much, you know, you put a certain amount of money in, you get other people to put money in, and then you get a certain payout at a certain time. And usually in all cases, at some point, the top of the pyramid scheme disappears and they're on a super yacht in Malta or Caribbean or something, or come from Nigeria or Canada, Kenya or something like that. So yes, don't get involved with pyramid schemes.
Up in jail.
Sorry, what was that, Nicole? I missed it. Nikki's got bad internet, sorry. So Anya said, I know it's not illegal, it's still a pyramid. Okay, so again, you may want to talk to them about when you look at an organizational structure. In network marketing companies, there's different organizational structures. In our particular company, we have a hybrid binary scheme. So there's the binary tree and there's a sponsorship tree. Well, obviously the sponsorship tree doesn't look like a pyramid. It's not a pyramid structure at all. So yeah, I think, educating people about how it's organized and how you're compensated for your efforts, that somewhere along the line, some people that didn't know how it worked just saw something that looked like a pyramid and then called it a pyramid. But if you've got a perfect pyramid structure in your binary tree, you're doing better than me. That's the best way to maximize a comp plan. Right? But the reality, that doesn't happen for everyone. Yeah. All right. Fantastic. Yes. And unfortunately, yeah. So Amway did go through a period of some pretty hard selling tactics and really tarnished the reputation of the whole industry. And that's where I said that conversation about, look, there's good and bad operators in every industry, including ours, in every company. And I'm here to be the most professional I can be and educate you. But yeah, if they're going really hard at you, with their objections, I fall back to that original statement. Look, if you're a cynic, I'm sorry, I can't help you. But if you're a skeptic like me, you just need more information to make a more informed decision. And that's my job. I'm the messenger, not the message. And I will provide you with information and tools so that you can make a more informed decision. And that's what I'm committed to, being the messenger, because I don't want you to miss out on this. This is like life-changing. This is extraordinary technology and it's an extraordinary opportunity, and love you to get the benefits out of it. That's all. Chris, were you wanting to say something?
This is interesting conversation. There's a Netflix, I think it's on Netflix. I think I mentioned this last year in the same time. The Herbalife movie where the Wall Street was short selling Herbalife because of their business activities. Did you ever see that?
No, I didn't see that.
Then the FDA or whoever, or the FCC came in and totally smashed them, fined them, and they had to change their whole compensation plan where they had to have 51% customers or retail compared to associates, right? That's on them right today. That's on Herbalife in America. That's the model they have to do. So it's more, they saw them, a bit like I was involved with a network marketing company before I came to ASEA, and they got closed down in Australia doing exactly the same thing. So that movie's really interesting. When I have these conversations, I try to direct people to the fact that the actual industry is very different today in terms of regulation and legalities than it was. So, if you want to go down that line.
Yeah.
Try and find a link.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And I think that the best thing you can do about this is to get educated and to be confident and have conviction in yourself. The whole posturing is really important. And if you don't know what posturing means, it means like where you come from when you share this. If you share it with a lot of fear and doubt and a lack of confidence, people find it harder to believe and to be influenced by you that you know what you're doing. If you are confident and factual and professional, not trying to push, but just offering the information, being courteous, then people will take you a lot more seriously and they'll be a lot more open-minded to what you've got to say. So that's about posture, and again, it's, what we've got is incredible. So if you value it highly and don't allow other people to really put it down, hold people account to that, they'll feel that posture. They'll feel how motivated and how in high regard you hold the company and the opportunity and what you do. That's posturing, and taking that away. Like I said, with my cynic comment, if you're a cynic, I can't help you. I'm sorry. You know, and I literally even, when I say that, it's rare that I say that. It's rare I come across a person that's that full on. But I've said it a number of times. Even when I say it, I literally move my body back a little bit. I'm like, okay, no worries. If you're a cynic, I can't help you. And then with my hands, I open that up and I'm like, however, if you are a skeptic, just like me, then you need all you need is more information to make a more informed decision. You know, and that's, if you're open to that, I'd love to help you with that. You know, I want to educate you so that you can have a better chance to solve your problems, whether it's a health challenge, a financial challenge, you know, whatever that is. So posturing is a really important skill. Okay, great. Any concerns, comments, questions before we wrap up the call for today? I hope that was helpful. Was that good?
Great call. Thank you, Justin. Super.
Fantastic. Thank you, Margot. Love your work. Thank you. Chris has put a link there in the chat. I'm guessing that's for the movie. Thank you very much for that, Chris. I'll have a look at that. I've not seen that movie. Betting on Zero. There you go.
That was great,
Yeah.
Justin. I took lots of notes myself.
I saw you. Busy as a beaver you were. Meow, meow. Great example of leadership. Well done, Julie. You're a great student as well as a great leader. And it's one of my sayings as well, one of the principles. I learned that as very young. Remember, my father was in the military for 32 years, the second time. And he taught me, in order to be a great leader, you need to be a great follower as well. And I think you just embodied that beautifully. Julie. Julie's a fantastic leader. She's also a great follower and, you know, being coachable, right? We're all having that attitude of gratitude and being coachable in order to be better every day. That's what's going to make a huge difference in your life. Thank you, Julie. Anyone else? Any other comments?
Thank you, Justin. Sorry about my internet, everyone.
Okay, fantastic. Well, let's wrap up the call. Have a were there any challenges for the next week, Nicole? And did you have any ideas about what homework? Someone said,
Okay, I'm here again. Fantastic. Yeah, so next week will be the last call of this round of Build to Bronze. So my challenge for you for the next week is to do a little action of blitz. So today is Tuesday. So, you know, you've got 5 working days between today and our next call. So my challenge to you is to do an invitation blitz to reach out to 10 people a day between now and the next call. And we might even do a little prize for the person who does the most invites and the person who, you know, leverages those into the most 3-way calls or chats, because that is usually where the closing happens.
That sounds like an awesome challenge. All right, so the challenge is on. The blitz, you will probably need to track that, remember, in order to see how many invites you got out. And the success tracker has a little box down the bottom where you can track all of your invites, follow-ups, 3-way calls, tools, all of that sort of stuff. So, yeah, whoever can provide one of these with the top numbers, you can get a prize. And that'll probably be some cool ASEA swag of some sort, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Well, you have a fantastic week. Keep up the great work and, yeah, get into action, change your life. Goodbye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Welcome.